Hello, my name is and I am the creator of the upcoming short horror film, The Goatman. The Goatman is a monster cultist horror film in which the goal is to make sure you never want to enter any woods ever again. In this short documentary, I will show you some of the work I've done towards the film, talk about some of my ideas, and give you an insight into everything Goatman related that's happening right now inside of my head. So, what is the Goatman? The Goatman is a creature of urban legend that has multiple different variations. However, are all described as a half-goat, half-man creature. In Kentucky, the Pork Lick monster, a half-man, half-goat creature, lured its victims using hypnosis or mimicking a voice to lure trespassers into its territory to meet their death in front of an oncoming train, where the monster resided beneath the railroad. In Texas, the Lake Worth monster, another half-man, half-goat creature, is described as a man-sized white furball with long fingers that are claws, and a couple of alleged sightings, including one which the monster landed on a man's car after jumping from a tree. In Maryland, where the most known urban legend of the creature is based, a creature actually named the Goatman, resembling a goat-human hybrid, was often the blame for the disappearances or deaths of multiple dogs. On some occasions, it was said that the Goatman would set out to kill a dog or beat a car using an axe. My iteration of the Goatman takes inspiration from some of the existing urban legends, and as such, has similar traits and characteristics from the goat people of urban legend, like using mimicry and deceptive tactics, similar to that of the Pork Lick monster, and having furry, long-clawed appearance, like the Lake Worth monster. In earlier designs for the Goatman, I always designed the creature brandishing its own unique axe in relation to the Maryland Goatman, and in reference to some infamous horror villains brandishing an axe, such as Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, and Jack Torrance in The Shining. However, further down the design process for the creature, I decided to drop the axe from the creature's design to make the creature seem more beast-like than man. In the final creature designs for the Goatman, it became a tall, empowering figure with a malformed head of a goat. The Goatman has large, sharp claws, capable of decapitating its victims in one fell swoop, and covered in fur, similar to that of a Sasquatch. The Goatman is also seen wearing a long, dark robe, referring to its once human past, and how the Goatman was born out of a satanic-like ritual. So my version of the Goatman originates from an ancient cult whose leader performed a sacred blood ritual involving carving a cross insignia into his own forehead with a blade covered in the blood of a goat, undergoing a very gruesome transformation, becoming the horrific abomination known as the Goatman. Hence the reason the Goatman is still seen wearing the same robes as he was as a cult leader before he performed the ritual. The cultists, which all witnessed the extraordinary event, however, did not leave the woods that night, and so the Goatman prowls the desolate woods, never leaving and remaining unknown to the outside world, in search of its next victim, luring them into the woods through various methods, before physically ripping them to shreds with its sheer strength and sharp claws. So, the cult in question I've deemed the Kids of Hell, the word kid in relation to that of a baby goat, lived in full secrecy and were wiped out completely by the birth of their own demonic creation after they performed the ritual to birth the Goatman. The cultists all wore full black robes and had an empty void in place of their face. Their leader, the man before the Goatman, the leader of the cult, adorned the same black robes and had a full black demonic eyes, as well as the cross insignia that was carved into his own forehead to become the Goatman. The film tells the story of a girl who discovers the truth about the local dark folklore as she ventures into desolate woodlands accompanied by her brother in search of their missing stepfather. The siblings will eventually come face to face with the monster, and what happens from them will truly scar the both of them. The woods in which the Goatman secretly resides in are known for its mysterious and unsolved disappearances. The film follows sister and brother, Daisy and Damien, in search for their missing stepfather, who they believe has gone missing in the woods. At the beginning of the film, before setting off to find their stepfather, Daisy is sent a sort of snuff film.
Anyone who opposes me
With a hooded man talking about the birth of the Antichrist.
will die.
What Daisy is completely unaware of, however, is that this is a ploy to get Daisy and her brother to go into the woods, and by Daisy watching the video, the Goatman, whose human form is that of the man in the snuff film, is now in her head. The siblings venture off into the woods in search of their missing stepfather when Daisy begins to have an unnatural and unclear vision as her brother Damien plays it off as a practical joke. The pair eventually find themselves discovering a rifle belonging to their stepfather as well as evidence of his fate, causing the pair to panic and alert the nearby presence of the stalking Goatman. The siblings at some point become separated whilst fleeing from the Goatman, as Daisy begins to hallucinate visions of the past relating to the events of the birth of the Goatman and seeing it through her own eyes. These visions that the Goatman is implanting into her mind.
You're all blind.
With the pair separated, Daisy hides from the monster and attempts to find her brother as she receives another video from the hooded man.
And you cannot stop what you cannot see.
Explaining what the visions mean as she awaits to discover the fate of her lost brother. In terms of the visual aspects of the film, I want to make it clear the separation between the hallucinations from the past events and the present day. The present day will look exactly how you might expect a dark woodlands to look. The dark bluish hue of the night sky enveloping the characters' faces as they're surrounded by dark, shadowy trees, making the viewer uneasy of what lurks in the distance. The past, however, will look entirely different, shot through a first-person point of view as Daisy is seeing these events through the eyes of a cultist who witnessed those events in person. At first, the hallucinations may look blurred and confusing, but as time goes on and as Daisy begins to understand these hallucinations, they become clearer and clearer. The woods will be enveloped in a satanic red hue to further add to the hellish and surreal atmosphere. Another difference in visuals takes place in the snuff films that are sent to Daisy. These videos are very glitchy and have a reddish hue relating to that of the hallucinations of the past.
Nothing will stop what is to come.
The Goatman film is currently under production, and it won't be long until we figure out the truth of who or what is the Goatman.
We are everywhere, and I will be eternal. The world must not know of our existence.